Oak Island's biggest shock yet, a metal discovery that could rewrite everything we know. The hunt is getting intense, and what they've found so far might finally point to the treasure's location. Leaked clues hint that this time, they might actually break through, unearthing secrets buried for centuries. Ancient paths, strange stones, and even ties to the Knights Templar, it's all coming together in ways no one expected. Tune in, because what happens next might just change everything. Oak Island's new mystery unfolds as they find nettles in the water. Fascinating. There's also some parchment and leather book bindings. Treasure, right? Or maybe just some sailor's old diary that got dumped centuries ago. Either way, Marty's staying positive, and honestly, you've got to admire his spirit. Even when it's just old bits of wood, he's convinced they're a step closer to some grand reveal. But this time, they might have found it, the clue that changes everything. Let's not forget the southeast marshland, a muddy patch that's apparently the hottest spot on the island right now. Gary Drayton, Jack Begley, and Dilly Garton are slugging through it, following an ancient stone trail. And because everything needs an epic twist, this trail has a supposed tie to the Knights Templar, because why not? The Templars are like the Swiss Army knife of conspiracy theories. You can stick them into anything, and it'll sound just mysterious enough. As they poke around, they stumble across an oddly placed boulder by the stone trail, which, of course, just has to be significant. And look, there are even some rocks arranged like steps. Someone probably moved those rocks there for a reason. Or maybe it's just gravity and erosion playing tricks on everyone. Either way, it's enough to get Rick and the crew excited about another round of digging. But wait, there's more. Terry Matt finds a piece of wood above a rock layer at over 2,000 feet down, because sure, why not? And Alex finds a metal piece that might be from some dramatic treasure chamber collapse. Of course, no one really knows for sure, but it's enough to keep the narrative alive. Rick's out here analyzing the depths, the types of wood, and basically piecing together a story with whatever scraps they can find. It's a lot like guessing what happened at a party just by looking at the leftover trash. In true Oak Island fashion, they send some wood off for carbon dating, and it comes back as being from the 1600s, between 1631 and 1684, to be precise. Everyone gets all worked up about it because, apparently, finding some old wood means they're hot on the treasure's tail. Spoiler alert, it's still just wood. Eventually, the team is back out in the swamp, still finding bits of brick, pottery, and glass. None of it screams hidden riches, but it all adds to the story a little color for the legends of Oak Island. Jamie Cuba, the archaeologist, gets involved, and his expertise makes the old stone structure they've found seem just a little more significant. It's a meeting point for cultures, a place for history. Blah blah. Basically, it's a rock, but a rock that's been around for a long time. The hunt continues, and they are convinced they're on to something big this time. They've got an old tunnel, a garden pit, a series of oddly placed rocks, you name it. And now, they're linking all of this to William Phipps, a sea captain who supposedly stashed his treasure on Oak Island. Was he really trying to preserve history, or just spinning a wild story to impress people? Who knows, but it's enough to keep this train moving. They head back to something they call Aladdin's Cave, an underground area 160 feet deep. They get out their fancy high-definition cameras, scanning the place and spotting mud, silt, and some steep slopes. Geologist Terry Matt, with his always careful approach, hints that maybe, just maybe, this could hide treasure, or maybe it's just another dead end. But digging continues. The excitement is always around the corner. And now the focus shifts once again to the southeastern marshland, where theories about ancient connections abound. Jack Begley is out there with his metal detector, going over every inch like a modern-day prospector. Only instead of gold, he's hoping for relics. Jack has this intense belief that any little scrap could be the turning point: a rusty nail, a piece of weathered wood. The search for treasure continues, and Oak Island's mysteries only deepen. Each discovery has a story, or at least that's how they spin it for the cameras. This area, where the mysterious stone trail was found, continues to puzzle everyone. They bring in more specialists, each with their own theory. One claims the stones could be remnants of an old dock or landing area, while another insists they are part of a sacred path. These rocks have heard a lot of whispers, and now they are stuck in the limelight, center stage, as people from different walks of life give their takes on what they could mean. And while all these experts throw their ideas around, the Laginas stand by looking contemplative, probably wondering how much longer they need to keep nodding along before getting back to digging. Jack Begley searches the marshland, hoping the next find will reveal more of Oak Island's secrets, the unsolved puzzle. Gary Drayton calls it a treasure hunter's paradise because supposedly everything sinks there: tools, treasure, or maybe just someone's bad luck. They haul out more bits of wood, more rocks, and maybe a chunk of metal, and it all goes under the microscope. They ponder if each piece could be part of some elaborate plot by ancient seafarers determined to outwit treasure hunters hundreds of years later. It's amusing, really, thinking of these supposed cunning builders might have gone through all this effort just to leave random clues buried in a swamp. It's been like this unattainable beacon for years now. Every new shaft is supposed to bring them closer, yet every single time, there's just more dirt, more rock, and maybe an old, splintery piece of wood. Still, the crew's belief that they're almost there is unwavering. Rick, with that hopeful glint in his eyes, talks about how the chapel vault could contain untold riches or historical artifacts that could change everything we know. For now, it's just more talk and drills, each inch bringing them closer, or so they say. They're getting back into the action. There's something about using advanced technology to solve a centuries-old mystery that makes the show both thrilling and ironic. They've got high-definition imaging, ground-penetrating radar, and a whole lot of other fancy tools that beat pan flash alt to dig up some wood or a few inches of metal that may or may not be significant. It makes one wonder, if they had all this fancy tech centuries ago, what would they have even done with it? As they dive deeper into the island, they start talking about William Phipps and the lost treasure of the Concepcion. The Concepcion, a Spanish treasure galleon, supposedly holds a key part of the Oak Island mystery. Phipps, with his adventurous spirit, apparently hauled up treasures and decided to stash them somewhere secret, and, of course, Oak Island has to be a part of that equation. They paint this picture of old captains, secret packs, and buried chests. But at this point, it's hard to tell if it's historical evidence or just a plot for another pirate-themed drama. They keep finding these weird rock formations, lines of stones and clusters that look too neat to be natural. It's almost as if the rocks are taunting them, placed just right to seem like they mean something but vague enough to be infuriatingly inconclusive. They bring out more experts, who suggest everything from old markers for treasure to natural formations, and the guessing game continues. Are these just accidents of geology, or some cryptic messages left behind by cunning treasure horrors? Well, that's for the next episode to ponder. Craig Tester, the ever-patient analyzer, brings a kind of grounded reality to the show. He talks to the lab techs, looks at the carbon dating results, and seems to be the only one not getting swept up in the constant roller coaster of "we found it, maybe not." When they find another piece of wood and it turns out to be from the mid-1600s, he knows what this means. Nothing definitive, but enough to keep the story alive. When the team heads to the stone-paved area near Nolan's Cross, they seem even more convinced that they are onto something major. They bring out the detectors, they find metal, and the speculation runs wild. Perhaps this was an unloading zone, a place where treasures were offloaded and hidden. The theories get more elaborate. Maybe there were secret societies involved. Maybe the Templars, maybe pirates. It's all on the table. Geologist Terry Matt, ever the cautious one, says there might be something down there, maybe treasure, maybe something else. The uncertainty is palpable. They don't know what's down there, but the thrill of the unknown is enough to keep them going. They send in the sonar scanners, mapping every nook and cranny, hoping for a hint of something that's not just rock or mud. It's painstaking, and it's slow, but where slow is just another word for progress, Oak Island keeps delivering just enough to keep everyone hooked. A piece of metal here, a strange rock formation there, a bit of parchment, or a few drops of mercury in the water, it all adds up to something that feels like it could be significant, but never quite is. The real magic of Oak Island might not be in what they find, but in the fact that they keep looking. The cameras keep rolling, the drills keep digging, and the Laginas keep hoping that the next layer of Earth will finally reveal the truth, that there's always another episode, another lead, another glimmer of hope, and maybe, just maybe, the journey is the treasure itself, the promise of hidden riches, the thrill of the search, the camaraderie of the dig. That's what Oak Island is all about. But what about the destruction of Oak Island? That tiny, sleepy patch of land off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, the place that should be known for its natural charm, the forests, the wetlands, the quaint little coastal spots. But no, what do people care about? Some mysterious treasure that might be there somewhere. Probably, or not. Now, the island has folks from all over scrambling to dig it up, fueled by every half-baked theory that's popped up since the 1700s. Then there's the wildlife, birds, mammals, fish. Oak Island has its share of critters, or, well, it had its share. Heavy machinery and humans stomping all over the place. Not exactly what the doctor ordered for a healthy animal habitat. The noise alone is enough to make even the most patient squirrel pack up and leave. And let's not even get started on the nocturnal creatures. Ever try to sleep with blinding lights shining everywhere? And birds, forget about it. They're not nesting anywhere near that racket. It's like taking your favorite hiking trail and setting up a construction site in the middle of it. Good luck spotting anything besides stressed out humans. The team's focus shifts to the environment, where every dig leaves its mark. The environmental impact and cultural costs are real. People have lived there, built things there, left traces of their past, maybe even more interesting than some long-lost pirate gold. But here's the deal. In their quest to find something shiny, they're pretty much bulldozing over everything else that might be worth preserving. Removing chunks of soil and messing with rock formations doesn't exactly do wonders for preserving historical artifacts. We're losing pieces of history in the name of maybe finding treasure. How's that for irony?